this review, we have the Transformers Generations Straxus. So, this is our first time getting Straxus in the Generations line. We've had a version uh, in previous years past. He's also being introduced in the comic book line, which is part of Generations. And I've been really looking forward to getting this figure. The front of the box is a basically lifted from one of the original G1 Marvel comics. Up until now, most of the action had been taking place on Earth, and then the story kind of jumps to Cybertron, and there's this whole story of Blaster kind of being a kind of a rebel Autobot, trying to undo some of the things that the Decepticons are doing, and this is his nemesis in the storyline. I do hope that we eventually get a blaster like this with this, style head. Actually, in the comic, his head was drawn quite a bit different. So it's always interesting when back in the day they use this for the cover because his head design looks different in the comic. So on the top, we get this graphic. I'm not sure what this is from. Probably from the comic. On the side, we get a recreation. This is new artwork, and you can see Grimlock's tail from that previous release. We get some panels here, and I believe these are from the the issue. UPC on the bottom. Although this is a Hasbro exclusive, Hasbro Pulse exclusive, excuse me. And then on the back, you get some photography and some more panel work. And you can already see he's a remold of Galvatron, but strangely, he had a very Galvatron-like mode way before the movie ever came to pass. So kind of interesting. All right, and then last, this is a kind of book style opening. So we get to see Straxus here, looking pretty cool. This line does have, these comic book shading lines, so just be aware of that. And then here is a quick little story about Straxus. All right, so let's go ahead and get him out of the box. As you can see, everything is just right in there, so let's get to it. Okay, so here he is out of the package, and if you didn't know this was a Galvatron remold, you probably wouldn't guess that off the top. Um, once you deal with this and put it on his arm, like, oh yeah, this is looks like maybe Galvatron inspired. His axe does have some folding capability. I think this is mostly to make it kind of store in vehicle mode. So he's got his little arm cannon and his axe. And we'll go ahead and bring in Galvatron just to kind of talk about that for a moment. And I kind of like the idea of having this comic or toy version of Galvatron. This was sold as a toy version, but he was often colored like this in the comic book. So to me, this is a comic book Galvatron. So you can see the arms have been sculpted, at least the forearms. The chest is completely different. Hip skirt is completely different. Legs have been altered. Feet are the same. These pylons are the same. The way the gun barrel works is completely different. Obviously, the head is different. And then when you go to the side, these treads have been changed up. And The back is quite a bit different as far as this top piece, but as you see, the legs are the same. And then when you get this guy out of the box, these heel spurs are going to be um, pulled into the feet. You'll get them and try to figure out like why is he falling or not standing. Just remember to pull the heel spurs out because they are tucked in for shipping. So that's him with Galvatron. So I like that they have not gone overboard with the shading. Like a lot of times with cell shaded figures, like they just go crazy with it. And they were smart enough to realize, like, don't mess his face up. He does have some line work on his neck. It's very uh, minimal. There's some line work on his shoulders, here on the barrel, on this one forearm, on the sides though, and then on the front of the legs, and I think that's it. So very, very minimal. Again, if you didn't know this was a, comic inspired figure, you probably wouldn't realize it. Okay, so let's get him into vehicle mode and see what that looks like. Okay, so if you can transform Galvatron, you can transform this guy. He's basically transforming into something extremely similar. The new parts make him different enough, and having the axe kind of integrate to the top and the new molded pieces here give it just enough for this to make him seem very unique, even though, you know, 70% of him is, the Galvatron pieces. Again, very minimal usage of panel. Again, very minimal usage of comic shading. We get some left over from the arm, some left over from the barrel. Uh, this does translate down into the uh, front end of the tank mode. There is a little bit of this duotone style, cross hatching at the top, which surprisingly, well, actually, there is. I was going to say there's nowhere else, but on the legs, there's a little bit on this side and on this side too. It's hard to see, but they, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the duotone stuff, like the light has to hit it just perfect for it to kind of pick up. Like it's kind of like a reflective paint. So pretty cool. So we're slowly moving along with these comic releases. We've got one more in the series that's been released, and hopefully we'll get some more stuff down the road. So that's the review. Hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think in the comments. As always, tune into more videos coming up. And if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thank you.